Sweet Pea!
Welcome, Storytime buddies! The first story is Pete the Cat, Rocking in My School Shoes. Story by Eric Ledwin, aka Mr. Eric. Art by James Dean. Here comes Pete, strolling down the street, rocking red shoes on his 4 furry feet. Pete is going to school and he sings this song. I'm rocking in my school shoes. I'm rocking in my school shoes. I'm rocking in my school shoes. Pete is sitting at his desk when his teacher says, "Come on, Pete, down that hall to a room with books on every wall." Where is Pete going? The library! Pete has never been to the library before. Does Pete worry? Goodness, no! He finds his favorite book and sings his song. I'm reading in my school shoes. I'm reading in my school shoes. I'm reading in my school shoes. Check out Pete. He's ready to eat in a big, noisy room with tables and seats. Where is Pete? The lunchroom. It can be loud and busy in the lunchroom. Does Pete worry? Goodness, no! He sits down with his friends and sings his song. I'm eating in my school shoes. I'm eating in my school shoes. I'm eating in my school shoes. Pete and his friends are playing outside on a green, grassy field with swings and tall slides. Where is Pete? The playground! Kids are running in every direction. Does Pete worry? Goodness, no! He slides and swings and sings his song. I'm playing in my school shoes. I'm playing in my school shoes. I'm playing in my school shoes. All day long, Pete sings his song. I'm singing in my school shoes. I'm painting in my school shoes. I'm adding in my school shoes. I'm writing in my school shoes. When school is done, Pete rides the bus home. Pete's mom asks him, "What did you do at school today?" And Pete says, I was rocking in my school shoes. I was rocking in my school shoes. I was rocking in my school shoes. And I will do it again tomorrow because it's all good. Yay! Pete the Cat and the Cool Caterpillar by James Dean. Pete is on a bug safari. He and his friends are looking for bugs. How many bugs can they find? Callie spots a tiny black ant. It's building an anthill, she says. Groovy, says Pete. Gus finds a round red ladybug in the mint patch. It has 9 spots, says Gus. Nice, says Pete. Marty sees a big black spider. It caught a fly, he says. Neat, says Pete. Pete finds a green caterpillar in the flower pot. I will bring it home to show Mom and Dad, he says. Mom helps Pete build a home for the caterpillar. They use a big jar. Dad puts lots of little holes in the lid for air. Pete puts the caterpillar in the jar. Pete puts some leaves in the jar for the caterpillar to eat. He adds a twig for it to crawl on. "Good night, Pete," says Mom. "Good night, Pete," says Dad. "Good night, caterpillar," says Pete. When Pete wakes up, the caterpillar is gone. Where did it go? Did it run away? "It is not gone," says Mom. "It did not run away," says Dad. "Look," they say. "The caterpillar is inside there," says Mom. "It's called a pupa." "Will it stay in there forever?" Pete asks. "No," says Dad. "The caterpillar is changing into something new." "What will it become?" Pete asks. "It's a surprise," says Mom. "We must wait and see." Pete waits. Callie comes to visit. "Did it come out yet?" she asks. "Not yet," says Pete. Pete waits some more. Gus comes to visit. "Did it come out yet?" he asks. "Not yet," says Pete. Pete waits even longer. Marty comes to visit. "Did it come out yet?" he asks. "Not yet," says Pete. Pete waits and waits and waits. Then, one day, something finally happens. The pupa starts to wiggle. "Something is happening," says Pete. It wiggles some more. Everyone comes over to watch. The pupa cracks open. Something is coming out. What can it be? A head pokes out, then some legs, and then two colorful wings. The caterpillar changed into a beautiful butterfly. "Wow!" says Pete. The butterfly slowly moves its wings up and down. It is ready to fly. They take the jar to the park. "Time to say goodbye," says Dad. Pete opens the lid of the jar. The butterfly flaps its wings. It flutters out of the jar and lands on Pete's nose. "That tickles," he says. Then the butterfly flies up into the sky. "Bye bye, butterfly," everyone says. "Let's find a new caterpillar," says Pete. "Change is pretty cool." Yay! Pete the Cat and the Missing Cupcakes by Kimberly and James Dean. Pete and Gus were as busy as could be. They were getting ready for the cupcake party. It started at 3. They were making cupcakes for everyone. Pete and Gus counted them just for fun. They had 10 when they were done. "Oh no! Hang on!" Some of the cupcakes were gone. They were sure there had been 10. Pete said, "Maybe we need to count again." They counted the cupcakes lined up straight. Now there were only 8. It looked like someone had taken 2. But who? Pete and Gus did not know what to do. Just then they found a clue. Gus said, "Look what I have found. Sprinkles on the ground. I bet it was Squirrel. She loves sprinkles." Squirrel said, "It wasn't me. It couldn't be. I've been at the spelling bee." Uh-oh, more cupcakes are missing. Come and see. This was too weird. 2 more cupcakes had disappeared. Now there were only 6. Someone must be playing tricks. But who? Pete and Gus did not know what to do. Just then they found another clue. Pete said, "I bet it was Alligator. He loves to eat." Alligator said, "It wasn't me. It couldn't be. I've been learning my ABCs." Uh-oh, more cupcakes are missing. Come and see. Now there were only 4. Someone had taken 2 more. But who? Pete and Gus did not know what to do. Just then, they found another clue. "I bet it was Turtle," said Pete. "I know Turtle loves sweets." Turtle said, "It wasn't me. It couldn't be. I've been swimming in the sea." Uh-oh, more cupcakes are missing. Come and see. What on earth was going on? All the cupcakes were now gone. Pete and Gus did not know what to do. They started looking for another clue. They found Grumpy Toad with icing on his face. Pete and Gus have solved the case.
"I am so sorry. It was me. I could not stop with just one. I ate and ate till there were none."
Everyone agreed. Grumpy Toad would have to miss the fun. He could not come after what he had done. Pete said, "But wait! Grumpy Toad made a mistake. This is true. Let's give him a second chance. That's what friends do." Pete told Grumpy Toad they would give him another chance. He was so excited, he did a happy dance. The night of the party was so much fun. Grumpy Toad brought more than enough cupcakes for everyone.
Yay!
Pete the Cat and His Magic Sunglasses by Kimberly and James Dean. Pete the Cat did not feel happy. Pete had never, ever, ever, ever been grumpy before. Pete had the blue cat blues. Then, as if things were not bad enough, along came Grumpy Toad. Grumpy Toad was never happy. He always wore a frown. But Grumpy Toad was not grumpy today. He said,
"These cool blue magic sunglasses make the blues go away. They help you see things in a whole new way."
Pete put on the cool blue magic sunglasses. He looked all around. Right on! The birds are singing, the sky's bright, the sun is shining. I'm feeling all right. Pete thanked Grumpy Toad for the cool blue magic sunglasses. He went on his way, and soon he saw Squirrel. Squirrel did not look happy. Pete said, "What's wrong, Squirrel?"
I'm so mad! Nothing is going my way! I only found 1 acorn today!
Pete said,
Try these cool blue magic sunglasses. They help you see things in a whole new way.
Squirrel put on the cool blue magic sunglasses and looked all around.
Awesome! The birds are singing. The sky is bright. The sun is shining. I'm feeling all right.
Pete said goodbye to Squirrel and continued on his way. Soon, he saw his friend Turtle. Turtle did not look happy.
What's wrong, Turtle?
Pete asked.
I'm so frustrated. Nothing is going my way. I am all upside down today.
Pete said,
Try these cool blue magic sunglasses. They help you see things in a whole new way.
Turtle put on the cool blue magic sunglasses and looked all around.
Far out! The birds are singing, the sky is bright, the sun is shining. I'm feeling all right.
Pete kept rolling along until he saw Alligator. Alligator did not look happy.
What's wrong, Alligator?
Pete asked.
I'm so sad. Nothing is going my way. No one wants to play with me today.
Pete said,
Try these cool blue magic sunglasses. They help you see things in a whole new way.
Alligator put on the cool blue magic sunglasses and looked all around.
Rockin'! The birds are singing, the sky is bright, the sun is shining. I'm feeling all right.
Pete was rolling along and feeling all right when suddenly he fell back. The cool blue magic sunglasses went crack. Uh-oh! Pete didn't know what to do without those sunglasses. Just then, Pete looked up at the tree. Wise Old Owl said, Pete, you don't need magic sunglasses to see things in a new way. Just remember to look for the good in every day. Pete looked around without his sunglasses.
Too cool! The birds are singing, the sky is bright, the sun is shining. We're feeling all right.
Yay!
Pete the Cat's Groovy Imagination by Kimberly and James Dean. Pete the Cat was happy. Today would be so much fun. Chilling out, catching vibes, sand, surfing, and lots of sun. But when Pete looked outside, he got down in the dumps sad. Dark clouds and pouring rain could make this good day turn bad. Pete didn't complain. He did not feel blue. Pete knew he could find something fun to do. Pete drew a cool picture. Pete strummed a little tune until he saw something too good to be true. Pete found a big box. He looked it up and down. He turned it side to side. And he spun it all around. The box was brown and it was strong. The box was wide and tall. Maybe this wasn't just any box after all.
This box rocks!
The box was big and it was groovy. The box could be something new. Suddenly, Pete's imagination grew and grew and grew. Maybe it was more than a box. Maybe it was more than it seemed. Pete closed his eyes and had an out-of-this-world dream. It was more than a box. It was a groovy rocket ship. Pete saw the moon on his outer space trip.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Blast off!
Pete was heading home. He landed splash in the sea. Pete had to think fast. Now what could this box be? The box was big and it was groovy. The box could be something new. Suddenly, Pete's imagination grew and grew and grew. The box was now a yellow submarine. Pete dived way down into the sea. Pete wore his goggles to see the underwater scene. The submarine crashed when it reached land. Now the box was lying sideways in the sand. But what's a cat to do with a box that couldn't stand? The box was big and it was groovy. The box could be something new. Suddenly, Pete's imagination grew and grew and grew. And pretty soon, the box was not just a box lying on its side. It was a cool cat race car revving for a fast, fast ride. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Pete won the race just like that. Then splat! The race car went flat. Now what good is a box that looks like a mat? The box was big and it was groovy. The box could be something new. Suddenly Pete's imagination grew and grew and grew. Even though a flat box was not in the plan, Pete imagined it was a stage for his jammin' rock band. Sometimes our plans just don't go right, but it doesn't mean the day can't be out of sight. If you use your imagination, you will see just how groovy your day can be. When you want to dream of something new, thinking outside the box is the grooviest thing to do.
Yay!
Pete the Cat. I Love My White Shoes. Story by Eric Lidwin, aka Mr. Eric. Art by James Dean. Pete the Cat was walking down the street in his brand new white shoes. Pete loved his white shoes so much, he sang this song. I love my white shoes. 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 Oh no! Pete stepped in a large pile of strawberries! What color did it turn his shoes?
Red!
Did Pete cry?
Goodness, no!
He kept walking along and singing his song. Everything is cool. I love my red shoes. 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 Oh no! Pete stepped in a large pile of blueberries. What color did it turn his shoes?
Blue!
Did Pete cry?
Goodness, no!
He kept walking along and singing his song. Awesome! I love my blue shoes. I love my blue shoes. I love my stepped in a large puddle of mud. What color did it turn his shoes? Brown. Did Pete cry?
Goodness, no.
He kept walking along and singing his song. Groovy. I love my brown shoes. 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 Oh no! Pete stepped in a bucket of water. And all the brown, and all the blue, and all the red were washed away. What color were his shoes again?
White.
But now they were wet. Did Pete cry?
Goodness, no.
He kept walking along and singing his song. Rock and roll. I love my wet shoes. 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 The moral of Pete's story is, no matter what you step in, keep walking along and singing your song. Because it's all good.
Yay!
Pete the Cat and His 4 Groovy Buttons. Created by James Dean. Story by Eric Lidwin. Pete the Cat put on his favorite shirt with 4 big, colorful, round, groovy buttons. He loved his buttons so much, he sang this song. My buttons, my 4 groovy buttons. My buttons, my 4 groovy buttons. Pop! Oh no! One of the buttons popped off and rolled away. How many buttons are left? 3! 4 minus 1 equals 3.
3. Groovy.
Did Pete cry?
Goodness, no.
Buttons come and buttons go. He kept on singing his song. My buttons, my 3 groovy buttons. My buttons, my 3 groovy buttons. Pop! Oh no! Another button popped off and rolled away. How many buttons are left?
2.
3 minus 1 equals 2. Did Pete cry?
Goodness, no.
Buttons come and buttons go. He kept on singing his song. My buttons, my 2 groovy buttons. My buttons, my 2 groovy buttons. Pop! Oh no! Another button popped off and rolled away. How many buttons are left? 1. 2 minus 1 equals 1. Did Pete cry?
Goodness, no.
Buttons come and buttons go. He kept on singing his song. My button, my 1 groovy button. My button, my 1 groovy button. Pop! Oh no! The last button popped off and rolled away. How many buttons are left? 0. 1 minus 1 equals 0. Did Pete cry? Goodness, no! Buttons come and buttons go. Pete looked down at his buttonless shirt, and what do you think he saw? His belly button! And he kept on singing his song.
It's all good.
My button, still have my belly button. My button, still have my belly button. I guess it simply goes to show that stuff will come and stuff will go. But do we cry? Goodness, no! We keep on singing. Buttons come and buttons go.
Yay!
Pete the Cat, Pete's Big Lunch, created by James Dean. Here comes Pete. It is lunchtime. Pete is ready to eat. What should Pete eat? A sandwich would be nice. Yes, Pete wants a sandwich. Pete opens the fridge. He takes out a loaf of bread. He finds a yummy fish. He adds tomato and mayo. Pete looks at his sandwich. It is too small. Something is missing. Pete knows what it needs. His sandwich needs an apple. Pete loves apples. His sandwich needs crackers. Crackers are crunchy. Pete loves crunchy crackers. Pete looks at his sandwich again. It is still too small. Pete is very hungry. Pete adds a pickle. Pete adds cheese. Pete adds an egg, 2 hot dogs, a banana, and a can of beans. Something is missing. Pete adds ice cream. He takes 3 huge scoops. Pete's sandwich is too big for Pete to eat. Pete wonders what to do. Pete thinks and thinks. I've got it, Pete says. Pete calls all of his friends. He asks them to come over. Everyone goes to Pete's house. They are all very hungry. Pete shows them his big lunch. Are you hungry? Asks Pete. Pete's sandwich is big enough for everyone. Dig in, says Pete. Pete's sandwich is good. Pete's sandwich is very good. Pete's sandwich is all gone. Pete's friends are full. They liked Pete's big lunch.
Thanks for lunch,
Pete's friends say.
Thanks for sharing.
You're welcome, Pete says. Sharing is cool.
Yay!
Pete the Cat's Family Road Trip by Kimberly and James Dean. Pete, Bob, Mom and Dad are going on a road trip across the United States. Dad loads the bags onto the roof. Mom picks the music. Bob and Pete grab the bike. The first stop is Niagara Falls. They ride a boat to see the waterfall up close. Pete loves pretending he's the captain. Next stop is Boston. The family walks the Freedom Trail. They take a photo in front of Paul Revere's house. "Historic and cool," says Bob. Now they are off to a new city. It is New York City. The family takes an elevator to the top of One World Trade Center. "Look, it's the Statue of Liberty," says Dad. In Savannah, they ride a riverboat. Pete orders a slice of peach pie.
Yum,
Says Pete.
life is good.
When they arrive at Key West, Pete meets a six-toed cat.
Your paws are groovy,
Says Pete.
right back at you.
Says the cat. New Orleans is famous for jazz music. The groovy jazz music makes everyone dance in the streets. Everyone is excited about the next stop, but then, uh-oh, the car gets a flat tire on Route 66. "Don't worry," says Mom. "We can't let this ruin our trip." Mom and Dad change the tire. Soon the family is on their way again. Mom parks the car.
Look over there,
Says Bob. It's Mount Rushmore. What a sight to see! The family stops to take a photo. At Yellowstone National Park, everyone unwinds. The park is so pretty and peaceful. Bob sees bison snacking on grass. "Check out those horns," says Mom. Suddenly, Old Faithful shoots water high into the air. "Cool," says Pete. Bob thinks it's time to try something different than a car ride. The family goes on a horse ride instead in Utah's Monument Valley. In Los Angeles, Pete checks out the Cat Hollywood Walk of Fame. Pete puts his paws in the paw prints.
I feel like a star,
he says. When they get to San Francisco, they all squeeze into a cable car. Pete stands in the front and says,
"Toot toot."
The last stop is Seattle. They go to the top of the Space Needle. "Wow," says Mom. "This city is pretty at night." Finally, it is time to go home. "We saw so many cool places," says Bob. "What was your favorite part of the road trip?" asks Mom. Pete thinks long and hard. There were so many neat sights.
The best part was being together with you all,
says Pete.
Yay!
Pete the Cat. Falling for Autumn by Kimberly and James Dean. It is the first day of fall and Pete the Cat is feeling blue.
I like summer better,
he says.
In summer, I can swim and surf and play at the beach.
Maybe you just need to remind yourself of all the things you love about autumn, Mom suggests. Pete says.
I'll try.
Pete finds Grandma in the kitchen. She's baking delicious pumpkin pies. The whole house smells sweet and spicy. Pete loves helping Grandma bake pumpkin pie, but he loves helping eat it even more. After the baking is done, Pete picks a squat orange pumpkin from the counter and slips it into his backpack as a souvenir. Next, Pete heads to the town corn maze. Pete and his friends wander through the long, twisty paths made of tall corn stalks. The best part of the corn maze is getting lost and having to start over again. As he leaves, Pete plucks a golden corn cob from the maze and places it inside his backpack. Then Pete visits Grandpa, who is knitting on the porch. Grandpa helps Pete use the knitting needles to knit the yarn into cool patterns. Together, Pete and Grandpa make a long, cozy scarf for Pete to wear. When they're done, Pete chooses a little ball of leftover yarn and places it inside his backpack. Next, Pete goes to the hayride at the park. Pete, Bob, Mom, Dad, and Grandpa all pile into a wagon filled with hay. They go on a bumpy wagon ride around the park.
Woohoo!
Pete shouts. At the end of the ride, Pete grabs a handful of sweet-smelling hay from the wagon and stuffs it into his backpack. Pete heads over to the apple orchard where he and Callie go apple picking. They eat sweet apple donuts and drink hot apple cider and fill their buckets with apples of all different shapes and sizes. Before he leaves, Pete chooses a round red apple and drops it into his backpack. Next, Pete stops by the park. He plays touch football with Bob and their friends. Pete scores a touchdown and everyone cheers. After the game, Pete grabs Bob's football and stuffs it into his backpack. It barely fits.
Bob won't mind if I borrow this,
Pete says. Finally, Pete heads back home, but he stops in his front yard, which is covered in bright leaves falling from the trees. Pete helps his dad rake the leaves into big, colorful mounds. Then Pete runs and jumps into all the leaf piles. After he's done jumping, Pete picks a bunch of red and gold and orange leaves and stuffs them into his backpack. Pete's backpack is bursting with fall souvenirs. He can't wait to show Mom.
I love autumn,
Pete says. Wonderful, says Mom. You know, these would make great decorations for Thanksgiving. So Pete helps Mom fill a basket with all his mementos. They place the basket at the center of the table. You did a great job, Pete, says Mom.
It's beautiful,
says Dad. Is that my football? Asks Bob. Just then, the doorbell rings. The Thanksgiving guests are here. All of Pete's family and friends gather around the dining room table. They tell stories and laugh at jokes while they eat. Everyone is having a great time. Pete looks around the table and smiles. He loves lots of things about autumn, but Pete knows what he loves most all year long. His family and friends.
Yay!
Pete the Cat, Sir Pete the Brave, by James Dean. Meet Sir Pete, the bravest knight in the land. Sir Pete rides a horse and climbs towers. At dinner, Sir Pete listens to Lady Callie play the harp. Lady Callie is awesome! Bravo! Sir Pete yells at the end of each song. He claps louder than anyone. One night, while Lady Callie plays beautifully, someone casts a spell. And everyone falls asleep, even Sir Pete. The next morning, Lady Callie is gone. Oh no, says Sir Pete the Brave. I will find Lady Callie and save her. Giddy up! Sir Pete falls in a hole. The hole is a dragon's footprint. Follow the footprints, Sir Pete says to his horse. The footprints stop. Where did the dragon go? Sir Pete looks up and sees the dragon flying across the lake with Lady Callie and her harp. Sir Pete can't fly, but he can row. Across the lake he goes. Sir Pete sees a dragon cave. He has to go inside, but it is very dark. Then he hears music. He must save Lady Callie. He won't be scared. He finds a harp, but no Lady Callie. Sir Pete will not give up. He climbs the highest hill. He looks around for Lady Callie. Then he hears a loud growl. Sir Pete is scared. The hill starts to move. Sir Pete is on the dragon's back. Sir Pete knows what to do. He slides down the dragon's back. The dragon sees Pete and roars.
Sir Pete,
says Lady Callie,
I will save you.
Save me, says Sir Pete.
But I came to save you.
Sir Pete and Lady Callie start to argue. The dragon starts to cry. I just wanted to sing along, the dragon sobs. I did not want to hurt anyone.
I have an idea, says Sir Pete. Will you give us a lift?
The dragon flies Sir Pete and Lady Callie home. Everyone is happy to see them.
You don't need a great voice to make music,
says Sir Pete.
Just good friends.
The dragon joins the song. 3 cheers for Lady Callie and for Sir Pete the Brave.
Yay!
Pete the Cat. Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. By James Dean. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. When the blazing sun is gone, when he nothing shines upon, then you show your little light. Twinkle, twinkle all the night. Then the traveler in the dark thanks you for your tiny spark. He could not see which way to go if you did not twinkle so. In the dark blue sky you keep, and often through my curtains peep. For you never shut your eye till the sun is in the sky. As your bright and tiny spark lights the traveler in the dark, though I know not what you are, twinkle, twinkle, little star. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. How I wonder what you are. Thank you for joining us. See you next time.
Sweet Pea!
like, and subscribe.